Are you ready to create a life you crave? Let's spin that doom loop of negativity into an upward success cycle and start living lucky. Good morning. I'm Jana.
I'm Jason.
And we are living lucky. That just means we feel grateful, we feel blessed, and ooh, is it a good day?
It is a good day. Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Today we're talking about seasons. Seasons of life. Seasons of history, seasons of humanity, seasons of the year. Seasons.
Seasons change.
Not seasoning, seasons.
I like seasoning.
I was on a webinar yesterday with Mr. Tony Robbins. Jason and I are part of his inner circle. And he made so much sense to me, and I just want to share, if I can articulate as well as Tony, some of the things he was talking about, because I thought it was brilliant.
It is. Well, life is all about patterns, and seasons are just patterns.
And he talks about if you can recognize the patterns, that's your first step, is recognize the patterns. And then once you recognize, ooh, these are the patterns that I tend to fall into. My life has a series of the same circle over and over. Once you recognize it, then you can start utilizing these patterns to your favor.
Right. It's like a video game, right? You start recognizing, okay, if I go this way, if I go that way, if I do this, if I do that,
yes,
then I win. I don't get eaten by the ghost.
Yes. And then once you recognize the patterns and utilize them, then the third step is you can start actually creating the patterns that you know work in your life, which is that's manifesting. And now we're getting into my wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's more Zelda level, not Miss Pac-Man or
So you guys play Zelda? Because Jason and I got into a Zelda mode for
Jana's
just a short while.
I'm
not. I still don't even know the controls. Yes. My dad is an expert Zelda. He's finished the game like 4 or 5 times. Good morning, Julyn, Patrick, Marilyn, Sheila. The gang is all here. I haven't seen BJ in a while. BJ's the head of our positive vibe tribe, and we need to reach out to her.
That's right.
All right. Well, today we're talking about seasons, and according to Tony, a lot of people are headed in, if they're not already, in winter. And winter is the season where things are hard.
That's Game of Thrones, I think, is winter is coming. We didn't watch Game of Thrones, but I hear people say Jon Snow and winter is coming.
Okay.
And maybe it's not Jon Snow, but that's one of the Game of Thrones saying, I believe.
Winter is
coming.
And according to Tony, people are losing their jobs, even though quiet quitting was a trend a month ago.
And the Great Resignation, all that stuff.
Now companies are starting to make really big layoffs. Inflation is happening, the economy, all sorts of things. So people are in winter. We're out of the pandemic, and people kind of got used to a lower energy state.
Like the slowdown.
Yes, and then when we try to come out of it, it kind of feels a little, oh, wait a minute, we got to go back to our pattern of being low energy state, being inside, being kind of down. That's really what it is. Now, once you start recognizing these patterns, and once you realize, okay, I'm in winter, if I can survive winter, then I'm going to thrive in the spring. I'm going to thrive in the spring, and that's the way you need to look at it.
Absolutely.
It's all a mindset.
Yeah. So there's really 4 seasons. There's 4 seasons in a year, and there's 4 seasons in life.
Seasons of love. Now I'm going to my go-to.
Yeah, and there's always going to be a spring. So that's why Jana's talking about, if you can survive winter, if you do well in winter, if you can have the mindset to do well in winter, then you get to really flourish and just boom into spring. So spring is that area of planting, that growth period. You get to really just kind of plant those seeds and find out who you want to be, right?
Yes. Yeah, so here's the thing. We all have life cycles as well. And this is something that is very eye-opening once you realize it. And once I tell you this, you're going to go, oh yeah, I've experienced this in my life. But if you look at your life as a season, I just burnt my hand on your coffee.
Hot coffee. What's in the cup, Ross?
If you look at your entire life as one great big season. From 0 to 21, we are in springtime. From 0 years to 21 years old, we are planting seeds. We're finding who we are in life.
You're learning.
We are learning all sorts of new things, and we're trying new things. All right, is this crop going to grow? Is this crop going to grow? Well, let's just plant a few things and see what happens. We are full of optimism. We are loving life. We have a lot of energy. We have a lot of energy from 0 to 21. All right. Then we go into a period which is the weathering period.
Yes.
And it's from ages 22 to about 42. Now the numbers can be different for different people. So these aren't absolutes, but this is the general time frame for most people.
I like to look at that as kind of like the sprout coming out of the seed, or the kernel opening up and the kind of the sprout coming out of the ground, or when you leave the house, when you leave home and you start going out into the world and trying to discover yourself and trying to apply all those things that you learned and were trying to put together in your head, and you start saying, okay, I'm going to present myself to the world now and see what works and try to give it a go.
And hopefully have success. However, from age 22 to 42, we often find that we're not invincible.
Yeah.
We often find that life may be a little bit harder than what we thought it was.
I knew it all until I applied it, and then I got slapped in the face a couple of times.
And from ages 22 to 42, usually in your late 30s, early 40s, you start realizing relationships are falling apart. Relationships start falling apart. Now, these are just generalities, but say if you can relate to any of this, if you've gone through that weathering stage of 22 to 42, where you realize, you know what? Life isn't working out the way I planned it. Ooh.
But what
I've experienced that.
I've experienced that. But then also what we look back on once we get to that, pulling into that next season, is that we've developed this resilience.
Resilience, tenacity, perseverance.
We made it through the season. And that's the key, is when you know you've made it through the season, you've kind of gone through all those wins,
you realize,
the failures.
I can do hard things.
Yeah, the tough times. So
which takes us to age 43 to 63. And this is what we call our harvesting season.
Yes.
This is where, you know what, 43 to 63, we realize, wow, all of those tough times I went through, it's only making me stronger. It's only making me better.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Live a little longer.
It was in the wrong key for me, but I appreciate the sentiment.
I gave it all I
We
had.
can always use a little Kelly Clarkson, right? So from age 43 to 63, this is your power phase. And this is usually the time period where people make the most money in their lives. They start accumulating wealth. They realize, you know what? I have a network of people. I have skills that I've learned. I have talents. We start to realize our confidence.
Start putting that puzzle together.
We start putting the puzzle together. We also start to realize, you know what? I don't need to listen to the external world. I can listen to myself. I can do what I want. And you start plugging into a higher energy.
Look out, because here I come.
And when you start plugging into what God created you to do, it's almost like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be so bullheaded like I was in my 22 to 42. I'm going to start listening to the world. I'm going to start getting in rapport with the universe. I know I really found my spirituality, started finding God, and that's when you start plugging into, okay, I can do this. You start flourishing. Some people call this the butterfly stage. You really start finding your wings and flying. Now there's transitions in between all of these phases, but this is your harvesting season. And then to finish this up, because I'm running out of time and I'm getting a little long-winded, I apologize. Hey, Jeff, I see that you just joined us.
And it's going to be his birthday this
BJ
weekend.
is here. BJ raises her hand.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Positive Vibe Tribe is all together. And I also see Victoria Victoria Dume, who we're working with on the
Next
Power
weekend.
Retreat on October
1 week from today.
21st and 22nd. Can't wait for that. And I see my good friend Marcy. Which just makes my heart all fluttery. I just love it.
wow.
I love it when all of you are here. So let me just go back to the last season of life, which now this is just generalities. So I'm not saying that, this is the final season of life, because some people reinvent themselves and go on to do the cycle again. But from ages 64 to 84, we call this winter. And from 64 to 84 is usually when you kind of settle down and you start saying, you know what? I've had a good life and it's time for me to mentor others. You slow down physically.
Yeah, it's kind of a teaching period, but you can also be teaching yourself, because I've had clients that are in that age group and they say, you know what? I'm teaching myself, and I've had mentors, and I'm teaching someone else, and I'm doing. So it's all about, so the seasonal for the life in general is the slowing down, the reflection, the enjoyment, or the cuddling with all the other seasons, kind of like that culmination of everything.
And once you start to recognize this, though, it gives you a little bit of comfort, because you think, oh wait, you know what? I'm not alone in what I'm experiencing. Other people are experiencing the same things. We just haven't zoomed out. If you look at history has seasons. The stock market has seasons. Somebody just
Hi, Siri.
beeped me. The housing market has seasons. Our economy.
Good morning, Jason. How can I help?
Oh my gosh.
Go back to bed.
Now Siri is part of our conversation. At any rate, we all have mini patterns, mini cycles that we go through. I know for me, here's a mini cycle. If I want to put this on a micro level, I start reaching a level of success. I start having all of these really good things happen to me. Like, for example, I'm having a photo shoot today with the local magazine, which I'm so excited about. And once I start experiencing all of these good things, there's a little like, I don't know, this is too good to be true. This is too good to be true.
Not ready for that season yet.
Yeah, I'm a little bit fearful of success here, because it's happening. It's happening. And so sometimes I revert back to some of my old patterns.
Yeah.
And I'm just human. But the fact that I recognize that I do that is 80% of fixing it.
I think a lot of us can see that when we look at our personal relationships, when we look at our finances, we'll see that, hey, okay, we get into debt, then we pay it off.
Yes.
And then we don't see the beginning part of getting into that pattern. And then we realize, oh crap, I'm in that pattern again, and now I'm in debt, now I got to pay it off. So, or we're in that relationship, and then I don't see the very beginning part of it because I haven't done the work and looked way far back, and then I jump back into that kind of same pattern. But the thing about recognizing these patterns is they're just patterns. And when we talked about at the beginning, where it's pattern awareness,
Yes,
and then pattern utilization, and then pattern creation, is once you recognize the pattern, you utilize what works for you. So you're not tied down to a season. So when we talk about winter is coming, so the world is going to have this world view of winter. You don't have to live in winter. You focus on what you want. You focus on, it's springtime for me. So I'm planting seeds right now, and I'm going to have a massive long winter or spring and live in it.
Sheila says 20 to 40, she had 2 failed marriages. 40 to 50, dark ages. Now at age 50, she is finally figuring it out. And it's also because you're in proximity of some really great people who are cheering you on, supporting you.
She's in spring and harvest right now.
Andu, I see you here. You say every day is a win. And I agree. Every day is a win. So if you are going through a tough time, just know that if you can get through winter, spring is coming. Spring is coming. And if you can survive through winter, you're going to thrive in spring. Hard times equals strong people. Sometimes we need to go through tough times so that we realize how strong, how resilient, how much we can persevere, and the fact that we can do hard things. I'm gonna stop right there. I love you guys. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend. All right, bye. If the idea of living lucky appeals to you, visit us at startlivinglucky.com.